Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face and welcome back to part 4 of this McLaren career on Motorsport Manager. Today we have the Sochi Grand Prix coming up, the Russian Grand Prix. Last time out we were in Sakhir for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It does actually have the wrong flag in this because in this mod, the track name mod that we got from racedepartment.com, it hasn't actually updated the flags whilst it has updated the track names. As you can see, Max Verstappen crashed out in the last race, gave Mick Schumacher a chance to show what he could do in the McLaren. He actually won the race, doing an excellent job of holding Nico Hülkenberg off in the much faster Mercedes. But as we go to our car now, we do have the third best overall car. That isn't going to be the case maybe for the next race in Portugal. We've got Estoril coming up, the old Estoril track. As you can see, we do have the third best engine in the car at the moment, which is in the game. But you can see the bar is all the way at the top. That is because the new engine that we built, which just happened the day before the day that we're on in game at the moment, is rated a 1285. That is rated the best overall engine now. So hopefully we're going to be able to get that into the car for Portugal. Well, I guess we can do, because it's 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks before we go to Portugal. So definitely going to be able to get that in the car. It's not worth the risk to put it in the car this time. We're doing alright with the car that we've got. It's not really worth the trade-off for the reliability, so we're going to keep it out of the car for Russia. Engine is only useful here. It's not crucial. It's not really crucial either at Estoril. And it's going to be a few races before engine actually becomes crucial again, and not until we get back to Silverstone, a really engine-heavy track. We've got a new sponsor in Rockstar, although they are an old sponsor. I can't remember if it were Rockstar that we had before, but we've definitely had them before in the game. A 5-star sponsor offering £800,000 fixed per race and $1 million up front. We've got tons of money now, so where are we at? We're a little bit behind brakes wise, so what we're going to do is build a new brake build. We're going to go just for the plus 20. I know this one offers a little bit more, but we're still working on the car currently, and by the time we could possibly concentrate on getting the performance up on the brakes to their full potential. Maybe we've built some more parts by then. So we're going to go with the plus 21. We're going to get that built, and then we're going to jump straight into the race weekend. So we're going to go with the middle one like we usually do, third or above, because we're still not quick enough to get first. Although Max Verstappen, he did get first once in one of the races, didn't he? I think it was the last one. Look at that. It was the tiniest of margins quicker than Sebastian Vettel. I don't know whether that is always going to be the case, but Sochi is an aero heavy track, and we know we do have the best aero car in the game still. On the suspension, Ferrari have actually betted on us on that ever so slightly, but we still do have the best front wing and the best rear wing, so we know we have the best aero package. But there's no real difference between the sponsors, or there is actually no difference between the ones we've got at the moment money wise. So we're going to jump in, we're going to run qualifying and practice as we usually do off camera, and we'll come back when it's time to go through the grid. So here we go with the grid for the Russian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel gets pole position once again, this time from Max Verstappen. We are this time a tiny little bit behind. As you remember, in the last race we were a tiny little bit in front, so very even between our two best cars at the moment, our two best drivers. Kimi Raikkonen gets third, Nico Hülkenberg gets fourth in the Mercedes, so the two Mercedes on the second row of the grid. Mick Schumacher does brilliantly to get into fifth place in his McLaren, Giovinazzi in sixth place as usual, Daniel Ricciardo in the Williams in seventh, Lewis Hamilton still struggling a little bit in the Red Bull in eighth, and Stoffel van Dorn in the second Red Bull in ninth place. Lance Stroll rounds out the top 10 in the second Williams. Then we get the Sauber of Valtteri Bottas, Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso, Sergio Perez in the Force Injury 13th, and Esteban Ocon, his teammate, alongside him 14th. Then we get the first Renault of Carlos Sainz in 15th, Marcus Ericsson in the Haas in 16th, Danny Kvyat in 17th, Palmer in the second Renault in 18th, Felipe Nasr all the way on the back row in the second Sauber, and as usual Santino Ferrucci all the way in 20th place in the second Haas. Haas obviously battling with Renault. Sauber are probably a little bit in front of them, thanks to Valtteri Bottas. Meanwhile, Toro Rosso, who are, I think, in 10th place at the moment. So I'm hoping Haas stay up, because if you have watched this series, you know we're possibly going to be trying to move on to Haas next season. So if they come 9th, maybe the job will be available. If they go down, then the job will obviously possibly be available. But here we go, Max Verstappen, who hasn't been having the best of starts recently, hoping he can get away. Here he does. He gets a much better start than Sebastian Vettel from the get-go. Mick Schumacher down to 7th at the moment, getting crowded out. That seems like both Williams get past him. 9th place is under pressure from the Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly. Max Verstappen though is off and a second in front of Sebastian Vettel already. What we know Verstappen can do is if we can get 4 laps out of this tyre, we can then finish the race doing the 2-stop strategies onto the super soft, which is what we're aiming to do with Max Verstappen. Mick Schumacher, much like Fernando Alonso last season, cannot get anywhere near the life of tyres that his teammate can do. As we can see, only 6 laps realistically from these tyres to Max Verstappen's 8. So it does look like if we do this, it's going to be onto the softs, and even that is going to be a push. So we're going to go super soft, then soft, and then from then on there, it's going to be depending on where we can actually get that second set of tyres to whether we go onto mediums or soft for the end of the race with Mick Schumacher. And it's usually down to the smoothness rating of the driver. Usually. There must be a little bit of a difference at the moment. So what we're going to do is we want to turn these tyres down because we do want to get them as far as we can. Fuel load, we'll go back to high mode at the moment. What is Sebastian Vettel doing? He's still pushing his. We've got plenty of fuel to get to where we actually want to get to. So we can still push. We're not going to do so much with Mick because we do want to see how far he can actually go. Who was that locked up? That was Giovinazzi that locked up. It wasn't Mick Schumacher, so we got a little bit of boost. We'll use it to keep this little bit of a distance over Sebastian Vettel here. We do have some boost with Schumacher. Should we use it to get onto the back of Kimi Raikkonen in the Mercedes? Oh, actually to get past him here. We make the move. And Raikkonen's using his boost. We're going to come back at him with the boost down the straight. Although he's too far ahead here. Not going to use all the boost. We're going to try harvest from there. Schumacher still in 7th place. Antonio Giovinazzi behind him here in 8th place. Verstappen though pulling it away. And we want to go back to medium here. We want to try and get round this lap and the next 2 hopefully, and then we can do super softs to the end of the race. Because the way we work it in qualifying, I can work it in qualifying that we do have these sets of tyres free after doing it, because we do the first qualifying session on the softs, which we are quick enough. Max Verstappen actually on the harder compound tyre, the second hardest compound tyre that we can take to a weekend, he can get 3rd place with those tyres. Mick Schumacher gets into about 9th place, but it's plenty enough to get through Q1. We could do that as well for Q2 with Max Verstappen. We could get through Q2 doing that as well and having just totally a full complement near enough of super soft tyres left. But the way we work it, we then do Q2 on the super soft and then just 1 out lap on in Q3 on the super softs, whereas the AI seems to like to go out twice in the last Q3. They do 1 run just in Q1 and Q2, but then they like to go out twice in Q3. It usually leaves them with 1 spare set of super softs depending on what they used in practice, or none at all to go on after they've used this. So that's what we're going to have to look out for here. Mick his tyres have gone already, haven't they? Right, so he didn't even go to where we wanted him to go to. Too busy talking. Right, so we want these to get through 8 laps. It's going to be a push, isn't it? Because we can only put 8 laps of fuel in the car, so we can't even really push the fuel load from this point out. Maybe we should have fueled a little bit higher on the first stint as well, because we're going to be running low on fuel. Maybe we should have been carrying a little bit more fuel, so we're going to go medium here, try and keep some of this fuel. We use a boost so we don't actually lose the tyres too much. We're not actually losing too much ground at the moment. We're sort of holding on. No, we're starting to drop back now. Should we get Max in this lap as well, because his tyres are about to go. So we're going to go onto the super sauce. We're going to try and get the full 8 laps out. We've got a little bit of fuel left of him, but we can only, well, you can only actually fill the car up to 8 anyway, can't you? So it doesn't really matter how much we've got in the car anyway. We can only do 8 laps, so it's going to be a little bit of a push from here whether we can actually get to the end of the race on that fuel load without running in low mode. So who else is thinking about pitting here? Right, so what we want to do, just so we don't have to 3-stop this race really, we'll stay out. We'll go conserve mode on these tyres. We've got the time to actually stay out. These tyres are actually going to go. We've got Mick Schumacher sort of dropping off here. He hasn't lost too much time, thankfully, but he's going to get into the pits now. He's going to come out. We've got the soft tyres on. We really need to conserve the fuel. He's got ahead, though, of Daniel Ricciardo. Van Dorn, though, is ahead. Ricciardo doesn't have any boost, it looks like. No, he's got a bit. He's not using it. Here he comes. Ricciardo's coming back at us now. And we really need to look after the tyre as well, so we can only leave this in medium. And we know Max Verstappen's tyres are now going, so now we can get him in. We want the full complement of fuel in the car. Balanced, right, so hopefully we get a good pit stop here. Into the pits we come. Is Vettel following us? Yes, he is. So there we go. Max is in the pits. We see Hulkenberg come in as well. We're out in front of Vettel. Brilliant there. And we want to go back to medium here. We can't really push the car just yet. We can't really push the fuel load without Prix stopping this race. As we see, Vettel is really pushing this fuel load. He's going to be struggling from here on out doing that, really. 15 laps, yeah, it's going to be pretty close. So we just need to keep an eye on what Vettel's doing behind us. Schumacher at the moment, a little bit further down the field, still a little bit behind Ricciardo, so we'll use a little bit of a boost for him. Verstappen, meanwhile, does have Vettel right on his tails here. Can we hold him off? Both using the boost, or are we just using the boost? Don't want to use all of it. We want to keep some of it just in case we need to hold him off. Vettel's still really pushing his car at the moment because he is on the slower soft tyres, which can go a little bit further, which means he can push on those, whereas we want to make this super soft last. But whereas he can actually go quicker than us now at this stage, in a couple of laps time, we're going to be the much quicker car. If we just hang on and just keep him behind us, we're going to be able to start pulling away from him. As we saw in the last race with Mick Schumacher, we just need to hold him off until he turns down everything, and then we can just sort of storm away from that point, because at some point he's going to have to turn down. We cannot keep that going. Whereas this tyre for Schumacher, it looks to be lasting, so maybe we can go into push mode a little bit on with Schumacher. We're still holding on to first place here, under pressure from Vettel. Nico Hulkenberg on the back of Vettel as well, putting him under pressure. Are we going to see Vettel? He's not really turning down, he's really pushing this car to its limit. Is he going to 3-stop this race? I'm guessing he's going to have to, because there's no way, unless he is, the way they're pushing the car, Hulkenberg's on the super softs as well, but he's going through his tyres a lot quicker than we are as well. Vettel shoots around the outside. We'll use our boost to stay in front. We're not going to be able to hold him off. No, we're not. We're going to harvest because we know we're going to be quicker than him sooner. We should be quicker than him now. It's just whether we can get back in front of him. Schumacher, meanwhile, is doing all right. He's in 11th place. Up into 8th now, which is just about where he was. He's on the back of Daniel Ricciardo. Tyres still looking all right for Mick. Can we come back at Sebastian Vettel here? We're being held up a little bit now. As we can see, we are the quicker car because we're on the quicker tyres. It's just whether we can get past him. So maybe if we can stay on his tail. Oh no, we've got Hulkenberg coming at us as well here, but we'll boost. Using all of the boost to do that. Is it enough to get Verstappen past? So if we were in front, we would be pulling away. What do we want to do? We've actually got a little bit of fuel now ourselves that we can actually use, because we've kept some back. We've been in medium, we've actually recovered a little bit, so we can actually push in overtake mode. Vettel is going to boost here. We've got Hulkenberg coming, so we're going to have to use the boost to stay in front of Hulkenberg. It's not working out going in overtake mode for us, is it? Whereas we can sort of push here with Mick Schumacher a little bit. We've got one of the Ferraris coming in. So can we get somewhere near Sebastian Vettel here? It doesn't look like it, does it? We're actually still trailing a little bit. Maybe we can push these tyres a little bit more, because we're doing really well on this set of tyres, actually. Actually got them a little bit further than we wanted to. Just try and keep on. What we'll do is we'll harvest as much boost as we can, because we do seem to be holding on to the back of Vettel. And then when it's time to get into the pits and so on, we can actually do it. Maybe Vettel is coming in this lap. Should we set another? So I'm guessing he's going to come in for a soft tyre. What are we going to be like for fuel at the end of this lap? 1.3, so we can't really push the fuel. If we're in front, then we're going to pit. We're not going to let him undercut us, because we can go to the end of the race from here. No, we're in front. I don't want to really risk a fast one, just in case. Whereas we're going to set Schumacher up now. He can only get 6 laps out of that. He can get this soft one to the end. His fuel's actually running pretty low, isn't it? Oh, where's he at? Oh, no. No. We've messed Schumacher up totally, haven't we? Concentrating on Verstappen here. We've messed Schumacher up. Concentrating on his battle with Vettel. Doesn't look like he's just about going to get round to the pits. We do have his boost to use as well in case he runs out. Verstappen, meanwhile, gets out in first place. Vettel's got problems with his car. Right, so if we do run out of fuel, we can use it. Oh, we just managed to get in there. Excellent. We just managed to do it with Schumacher. So where are we going to get out? Vettel is back out of the pits now. Going to keep an eye on this. We're ahead of Hamilton, who still does have to pit. We've got a 3-second gap to Vettel, who's had to go on to the medium tyres here, so we can just conserve at the moment. Schumacher, meanwhile, is behind Carlos Sainz, who still has to pit. He's going to hold us up, so we want to use a boost to get past him. We can see Giovinazzi on the same tyre, but I'm guessing Giovinazzi's got to pit again because he came in quite early. He won't have the fuel to get to the end of the race unless he goes in low mode for the rest of the race. We're under pressure from... Who's that behind us? That's Santino Ferrucci in the Haas who was behind us then. Seemingly keeping up with us, but we're not really pushing anything with the car at the moment. We're just sort of waiting for Sebastian Vettel to catch up because we know he's really pushing this hard tyre, this medium tyre, the hardest compound. It will go to the end of the race even with him pushing, so we just need to sort of get Schumacher somewhere back into the fold here. We're currently behind Bottas, who does have to pit again. We'll possibly be holding his up, but we should get past him here on the softer, fresher tyre. There's still a almost 2-second gap to Vettel. We do a 128 to his 125 to his 124, so just about half a second quicker than us at the moment, which is alright at the moment. We know we can go quicker if we want to. We'll just try to hold off. We're just going to try get... Well, Giovinazzi does have to pit again, as I've said. So this is the sort of place that Schumacher should be in our car. This is where he usually is. Well, not really. Should actually be a little higher up, but we sort of messed him up a little bit, haven't we? Concentrating on keeping Verstappen ahead of Vettel here is the most important thing. We do have a lot of boost. Right, so Vettel's going to try boost down the straight to come near us. We're going to boost as well. And who is that? That is Hulkenberg. That's not Hulkenberg. Who's that there? Who's actually behind us? Is that Kimi Räikkönen that we've just lapped? Kimi Räikkönen. We've just lapped Kimi Räikkönen. So can we hold off Vettel here? We've got enough fuel now that we can push. We can go into push mode on the tyres as well. Now that Vettel's with us. Let's just see if we can eke out a little bit of a gap now. We should be able to pull away from Vettel once again. Schumacher, meanwhile, he's safe enough at this point in 6th place. So we've seen Giovinazzi did need to pit again. Ricciardo is pitting this lap as well. He's doing 3 stops. Can we catch Lewis then? That is a 6 seconds ahead. We'll hold a little bit of fuel back until Ricciardo comes in. We are holding out a little bit of a gap over Sebastian Vettel now, who has turned down. What have we got left after this? Like 3 laps left in the race, so we're just about there with fuel. We've got a little bit of excess. Vettel's still got problems with his car as well, even though I think he came in to fix a few parts, but he's still seemingly got a few problems with them. Schumacher up into 4th. Hamilton, we're dropping behind Hamilton there. And he's got problems with his car, has Schumacher. We've got a lot of tyre wear left here, so should we push things a little bit? The fuel seems to be bang on here, so we can push the tyre a little bit, see if it can get us any closer. And this is Kimi Räikkönen, who is 11th. He's actually going faster than us at the moment. Let's just see, we did a 125.1. What is Räikkönen doing? A 124.1, almost a second quicker than us, because he's really pushing an almost fresh pair of soft tyres. So we do have spare fuel, we have a lot of tyre wear left. 6.4. We're catching Hamilton. I don't think we're going to be able to catch him before the end of the race, though, to get a podium for Mick Schumacher. 1.2 seconds quicker. It's not quite enough to get there, plus these tyres are going to get too hot at some stage. But Verstappen is now comfortably ahead of Vettel, who's made another pit stop anyway. Vettel has made another pit stop. Must have been running low on fuel probably. Whereas we just got plenty of fuel to go here. We can even just keep it in high mode. We'll save this. We'll try to set a fastest lap towards the end of the race. What we'll do is we'll hold off this lap. We'll try cool everything down and then push on the last lap. Schumacher 3.5 seconds behind. We haven't really got the time to catch up to Lewis Hamilton here. We do have a bit of boost. Is that going to get us anywhere near? I was trying to hold on to it in case we needed to try and make the overtake. We're going to have to use it to get somewhere close to him. Right, so Verstappen now comes across, so we'll run everything. in full red mode. See what sort of time it's going to get us whilst pushing the battery. And we'll save a little bit of battery. We'll push again in a second. 1.5 seconds behind Hamilton. We're not going to be able to catch him even with the boost that we've got. Our tyres are starting to go as well. Got a little bit of excess fuel that we'll push with. Tyres are going of Verstappen, as we know, because we pushed the car. And we're slowing down. We're not going to get that fastest lap because we slowed down on the last sector. But a decent race from Verstappen. A nice win in the end. The Ferraris having to make 3 pit stops. We know Giovinazzi did 3 as well. Schumacher comes across the line in 4th as well. A decent result for him. Yeah, we possibly would have been able to get Schumacher on the podium, but due to that first pit stop where we were concentrating on Verstappen, we let his tyres run a little bit too low, but we needed it to get to that point really, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to get to the end of the race in 2 stops, I wouldn't feel, with Schumacher, unless we went on the medium. So we actually possibly gained time in doing that over the course of the race, so it possibly was the right decision. We wouldn't have been able to make up this place anyway. But another win for Max Verstappen. Is that his 3rd of the season? I know we've won every race so far, but I think that's it must be his 3rd to 1. I'm sure we've won every race this season. My brain's not in gear today at all. But Vettel, Hamilton, a lot better than usual in the Red Bull. That's his first podium this year. Last year's champion in our McLaren. 75 points, a 20-point gap now for Max Verstappen. Nico Hülkenberg is in 3rd, Ricciardo 4th. Vettel climbs up to 5th place this time. Hamilton climbs up to 7th place in the Red Bull, above his teammate Stoffel van Dorn. Sergio Perez still doing well in 6th place. We'll just look at the constructors. We're leading now by 65 points, double the points of the next best team, Mercedes, who are having a good start to the season this season. Ferrari still struggling. Haas still a tiny little bit ahead of Toro Rosso. I don't think Toro Rosso finished in the points there, did they? No, they did. Pierre Gasly picked up a point for Toro Rosso. So the pressure on Haas at the moment now as Toro Rosso is starting to come good. We've got everyone happy. The morale's down for Mick Schumacher because we did have an email through that. I can't remember what it said. He's feeling blue. He's got a minus 30% morale at the moment. He should be 100%. That should be back to normal soon. We came 1st overall. No change to the marketability. Some nice gains for Mick Schumacher. Verstappen gaining a slightly lower rate, similar in age. Could Mick surpass Max at some point? Though they're not going to be our drivers when it comes to that point. So we're going to go 3.5 million going into the bank. McLaren in a really strong position with money at the moment. And who was that? Who won the GP2 race? George Russell in the MP Motorsport, Markov in the Russian time. So who's actually winning? Rapax at the moment winning. MP Motorsport in 2nd. Dragon Racing, who came up from GP3 last season, in 3rd. Andretti. I think in this GP2 series, just like F2 in real life, I think nearly all the parts are spec parts. So it really just comes down to who has the better drivers in GP2. So anyway, another good win. We've got Estoril, the all Portuguese track, coming up. We'll finish as usual with the interview. Your chairman was reportedly caught telling some reporter that he's tired of Mick Schumacher's awful performances. Mick Schumacher's been doing really well this season. All of these are going to upset someone. Other than this one. Yeah, so that keeps everything steady. So anyway, another good win for us. That is the 4th win this season. The 3rd one for Max Verstappen. It looks like we're comfortably going to run away with the championship again. So it does look like we're going to be looking at a new team at the end of this season. Possibly Haas if the job's available. Who have we got at the moment? Toro Rosso is available at the moment. We possibly get given this one. Red Bull is available, but I don't want to go with a team too high up. Like Force India. Any team from Force India upwards, even Renault really, because their factory is too good. Haas still have a level 1 factory, I think, at the moment. If I can just get to have a look at Haas, I think they've still got a level 1 factory, which would make it really hard in getting the car reliable at the start of every season. So it would take a lot of work to get Haas somewhere competitive. So maybe that is what we're going to go with next season. But anyway, that is it for this episode. Another good win. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that little bell as well if you want to be updated on when I post videos every day. Try to get through one every day. We're currently trying to do 2 a day on some of the days, just to try and get through this season, because 2 weeks is a little bit too long to get through a season, really. We want to try and move on a little bit quicker, so when I get the time, I do try and do 2 videos a day. It's not always possible. But anyway, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Until next time, I will see you down the road for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Estoril. But until that time, I will see you later, and goodbye.